to do that. Anyway, 755-1240 is our phone number if you'd like to give us a call. Anything new on that big flap going on at hospice? Holy moly. I'm told the situation comes down in large part to, I've often said on this show the fastest growing career field in the North Country is to be executive director of a not-for-profit agency. And now the not-for-profit agencies have fundraising arms, so you end up with two executive directors. But in any event, apparently there was friction between the executive directors for the hospice and for the Hospice Foundation, which is a fundraising arm, which had led to some of this sort of a, I don't know, they just didn't seem to mesh or something is what I'm being told. Plus, this idea to consolidate into one corporation, which apparently won't happen because obviously the board of directors of the foundation would have to assent to that. You see, this is what you have to understand. If two corporations were set up for the purpose of insulating the pot of money from a lawsuit, then if you're going to make that last at all, if you're going to prevent a plaintiff from piercing the corporate veil, as it's called, then you have to make sure they're truly separate, with separate boards and totally separate administrations and all of that. You can't just have, sort of a sham setup that, just because they're going to get through that in a heartbeat in any kind of legal case. So both bodies would end up being sued in the event there was a suit against hospice. So that argument, I don't know. I mean, the argument that one board can compel the other board to merge, well, they obviously can't, because if you could, you wouldn't be an independent entity, and this idea of using a corporate veil between the two entities wouldn't hold any water. So doesn't look like there's going to be a merger. But what amazes me about all of this is what a big deal it became in some of the local media. It just sort of like boom, usually this type of disagreement or arguing or whatever on a private board or something for a private organization is just sort of, well, it just happens. But this has just gone thermonuclear, if you will, and you just wonder if the people involved all want the notoriety they're suddenly getting. But I'm sure there'll be more of that, and this will, anyway, it's said to be at impasse now after what was dubbed the Monday Night Massacre when 4 board members were, this is the other thing, and I hate to disagree, and I don't want to get myself in trouble. The 4 board members at that foundation were not fired. Fired involves losing your livelihood. They were perhaps, you could say, expelled, dismissed, relieved of duty, whatever they were, removed from the board. But they weren't fired, because fired implies a job where you lose your livelihood. When they said MacArthur was fired in Korea, he wasn't fired. He still had a job as a general. He's still drawing a paycheck from the U.S. Army. So a lot of times this word fired is used in a manner I don't consider proper. Fired to me means you've lost your livelihood. You really lost something, not just that, somebody didn't like it and remove you from a board or something. So the fact that maybe removed from the board would be a more appropriate thing. I know fire sounds better and, if you're trying to hype it up and so on, but I say remove would be the proper word in this particular case. Good afternoon, Hotline.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Hey, what was the name of the law school you graduated from?
I didn't graduate from law school, but I certainly have.
I just teased you. I heard you make that comment about two separate boards now that it was untouchable. I don't know.
Well, I didn't say it was untouchable. I said that's their contention.
Right.
I think
there must have been some type of somebody must have researched this a little bit and got some advice from a lawyer that that's the way to go.
Well, yeah, and obviously there's another lawyer who thought otherwise. I'm merely saying that if you're going to make that argument that one corporation is protected from another, you have to make sure they're pure in their separation. If you have interlocking boards and interlocking management and interlocking physical plant, it's tougher to make the argument that there's a true distinction and that it's not merely, a contrivance.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't have a law degree, but I've just...
none of us do, but that, hasn't stopped you before, Steve.
What's that?
You have comments on a variety of issues that you don't necessarily have.
Oh, I know, and I'm just teasing you back.
Yeah.
And
well, I know a little bit about law and so on, and certainly have had some experience in it, and that's my observation. I don't claim to have inside knowledge on hospice. I think this thing is rather unseemly. I think it's a shame that a community resource is sort of batted around like a piñata like this.
I
But
agree, and I hope they resolve the differences because I know my family's benefited greatly from it, and I'd hate to see something happen to it, you know?
yeah, but, you get the wrong people,
Well, I'm sure there's a personality conflict somewhere in there.
Yeah, they're definitely, it sounds like some kind of, that there's personalities in conflict, and as I said, my advisor on medical affairs has certainly, indicated to me what he thinks the issue is.
Right. All righty. Just thought I'd call and chime in.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
755-1240 is the phone number if you'd like to give us a call to be on the show today.